You may have heard of a concept called quiet wealth. It's kind of like a buzzword that's been circulating on social media for about the last 2 years. So I wanted to dive into what exactly it is and what we can learn from it, how we can benefit from it ourselves. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I'm Sarah Edens. I'm a financial consultant and educator, and I'm so happy you're here. And a big welcome back to all my current subscribers. So happy to see you. So, quiet wealth, what is it exactly? So, it's basically a lifestyle philosophy centered on financial security, personal freedom, and inner fulfillment, all while avoiding conspicuous displays of affluence, which, let's be honest, how many of us have this problem anymore? I don't think too many of us have a problem with conspicuous displays of affluence because we're all broke lately, so it's all good. But quiet wealth values substance over style, privacy over publicity, and experiences over expenditures. And there's a really interesting book that I have already purchased. It's on its way here from Amazon. We'll be doing a book review on this at some point in the summer or fall. It's written by a prominent sociology professor, and it's called Uneasy Street, The Anxieties of Affluence. And it's really interesting because she shares kind of the flip side of what it looks like to be in that top 1% and some of the issues that they face around money. And so I always like to explore this and particularly look at the top 1%, look at the ultra rich, and kind of see, first of all, how did they make their money, right? How did they get where they are? But then what are the mindset shifts that you have to make when you're super rich to be able to have a wonderful, fulfilling life? Because it definitely has its own issues, as the title of that book suggests. So stay tuned to this channel and we'll get a book review going on that once I get a chance to read it. But basically, the key components of quiet wealth and the things that I think will resonate with you, because I know that if you're here, you're as interested as I am in building things like financial independence, financial freedom, and so on. So the first component is to spend wisely. We talk about this a lot, right? But basically, live below your means. But I would put a caveat on that every time I mention live below your means and say without being stingy. Because I don't want you to go all like YOLO here, but it's really important to remember that it is a balance. So I do not want people to come away from my channel feeling like they need to stop spending on everything that brings them joy today and only put everything off for later. That is never, never the message that I want folks to get from my channel and what I teach here. So find that balance of being able to save for the future and also spend on the things that bring you joy and build great experiences with your loved ones and family and friends today as well. Obviously, avoiding lifestyle inflation is a big part of this too, which just means as you get pay raises, please don't spend it all on a brand new sports car. It's just such a common thing for people to do. They tend to, across the board, spend a lot more when they get pay raises on upgrading their housing, upgrading their dining out experiences, taking great vacations, buying new cars. Great things to do, but just make sure they're not coming at the complete cost of your future self as well. Second component of quiet wealth that interested me was how it's about investing consistently. And so it's just, again, about either automate your investing, make it a habit, whatever you need to do, but just make sure that you're putting something towards your future self. The third component of quiet wealth is to really own your own time. I just did a video on this that I'll link to in the description as well. But whether or not you work for yourself, just really make sure that you have as much what's called time autonomy and control over how you spend your days as possible so that you can be working in a way that brings you joy and lets you be, happy and fulfilled and make the money you need to make for whatever stage in your life you're in, even for those who are working in like a pre-retirement, semi-retirement, that kind of thing as well. Just really focus on getting to the point where you have enough time to get your work done and then also have enough leisure time, and don't sacrifice all your leisure time for just making a ton of money and then owning status symbols like a big house or a really fancy car or a cool boat, or those are great things, but just make sure that you're not on a rat wheel then of having to earn to keep up with all the payments on all those status symbols, because it's unfortunately a trap that a lot of wealthy people and upper middle class people get into, because they think they need to have those status symbols to be meaningful. And the real thing that brings us meaning is things like spending time with family and friends, having enough leisure time to enjoy your hobbies and things that you want to do, just being able to have control over your time, not having to be working constantly to make payments. It's just a very stressful way to live. If you've ever done it, you know about this already. The fourth component of quiet wealth that I found really interesting is about prioritizing your well-being. So remembering that it's really, really key to avoid burnout. It's especially easy to get burned out as an entrepreneur. I went through this myself 2 years ago, and it was a very unpleasant experience that took me a really long time and a lot of support to bounce back from, just emotionally and physically. And so it's really, really important to remember, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, to value your health as your most important asset and make sure that whatever else you're doing in your life, you are eating properly, you're getting enough sleep, you're practicing mindfulness, you're spending time in nature, you're spending time with family and friends, and you're not just pouring yourself into your work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Especially if you're an entrepreneur, please hear this, because it is so easy, especially when you're first building your business and building your brand. It is so easy to have just so many irons in the fire, be doing everything yourself in those early years, and just to get very, very burnt out. So be kind to yourself and remember that it's easier to prevent burnout than it is to bounce back from it, especially the, further along in life you get. I mean, I probably felt burnt out in college, but at like 19, it was like, yeah, no problem. I can totally stay up till 3 a.m. doing papers and feel fine the next day. It's great, and then you get later on in life and that just feels like torture. So it's just important to have that balance, but really remember to prioritize your wellness. The fifth component of quiet wealth that I thought was super fascinating was about cultivating inner wealth. So this comes down to things like spiritual meaning, finding your inner purpose, really being able to give back in ways that are meaningful to you, and all of this, but just really being able to kind of become the best version of yourself, become the most peaceful, calm, confident version of yourself, really work on your mindset and work on your relationships, and just being the best version of yourself, basically. I think that that's a huge piece of quiet wealth. And then the sixth and final thing here is choosing quality over quantity. So this is something I really, really like as well. Rather than having to have something like a lot of possessions, just really focus on putting your money into high quality things and just have the minimum number that you need. Not only does this save you a heck of a lot of money on insurance, it's also great because your high quality item, whatever it is most likely going to hold up a very long time, and you won't need to get another one for a very long time. And I think my favorite example of this is my little old car, and I have had it for, how many years have I had this car for? 12 years? But I just, because I work from home, I don't drive a lot. And so it doesn't have a lot of miles on it. It's a really reliable brand and great car. And I will probably be driving it for another 15 or 20 years at the rate it's going. And it's going to be collectible by the time I'm done with it, most likely. But it's just one of those things where whatever category you're looking at purchasing something in, make sure to just really purchase the best quality you can afford. It doesn't have to be designer by any means, but just buy the best quality item that you can find for the money, and then just maintain it, keep it, in good shape, and it'll last a long time. So those were my 6 ideas that I had that kind of tied into what is quiet wealth and why I like it as a concept so much. And let me know what your thoughts are on this. I'd be curious to hear. And thank you so much for being here. And I will see you again soon in my next video.